Hi everyone, it's Ms. Lubel. Since the audio recording, I'm still trying to figure out how to upload that on YouTube. I'm just going to reread the first two chapters. So the book that we're reading is called When You Reach Me by Rebecca Steed. It's going to be a little suspense and mystery and all that good stuff. So I always like to read the back, the little hook that the author tells you. So I'm going to read that for you. I'm coming to save your friend's life and my own. I ask two favors. First, you must write me a letter. Dun, dun, dun. When Miranda starts receiving mysterious notes, she doesn't know what to do. The notes tell her that she must write a letter, a true story, and that she can't share her mission with anyone, not even her former best friend, Sal. It would be easy to ignore the strange messages, except that whoever is leaving them appears to have an uncanny ability to predict the future. And if that's the case, Miranda has an even bigger problem, because the notes tell her that someone needs saving, and she might be too late to help. I mean, if that doesn't grab your attention, I don't know what will. So let's take a look on the inside, right? So I love when authors leave a note to the reader, so I'm going to read that too. This is from Rebecca Steed. Dear reader, it's been 10 years since I wrote the book you're holding. Even after 10 years, I can't tell you exactly how I wrote this story. I don't plan out my stories ahead of time. Instead, I write a very messy first draft and then spend a lot of time making it better. If you are about 10 years old, I want you to know that a lot of this book was made with thoughts and observations I had when I was your age. I carried those thoughts with me for years and years, and then finally, I poured them into this story. Some of those thoughts were big ones about things like how we see the people around us. Some were small thoughts about things like the tile on our bathroom floor. Some were thoughts about the way I felt inside, which wasn't something I talked about a lot. Some of those thoughts were questions. People might tell you that what happens in this story is impossible. They might be right. Some people might tell you that real life starts when you're grown up. They are wrong. If you are about 10, you are powerful. You are already having ideas and asking questions that will continue to feed you throughout your life. If you are a lot older than 10, you probably already know this. I hope that you enjoy this story. Rebecca Steed. Okay. Also, she starts this book with a quote by Albert Einstein. I question, if you don't know who Albert Einstein is, please look him up because that may be helpful why she chose this quote for her book. The most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious. Mysterious. If I don't know what a word means, I can, 1, use prefixes and suffixes. Mysterious. I'm not sure I know those. 2, I can use context clues, which means based on the words around us, could I figure out what this word mysterious means? And 3, if I don't know, then I can use a dictionary, or in our case, Google. You click mysterious or define mysterious on Google and it'll pop up and tell you what it is. So, chapter 1 is called The Things You Keep in a Box. So Mom got the postcard today. It says congratulations in big curly letters, and at the very top is the address of Studio TV15 on West 58th Street. After 3 years of trying, she has actually made it. She's going to be a contestant on the $20,000 Pyramid, which is hosted by Dick Clark. On the postcard, there's a list of things to bring. She needs some extra clothes in case she wins and makes it to another show, where they pretend it's the next day even though they really take 5 in one afternoon. Barrettes are optional, but she should definitely bring some with her. Unlike me, Mom has glossy red hair that bounces around and might obstruct America's view of her small freckled face. And then there's a date she's supposed to show up, scrawled in blue pen on a line at the bottom of the card. April 27th, 1979. Just like you said. I checked the box under my bed, which is where I've kept your notes these past few months. There it is, in your tiny handwriting. April 27th, Studio TV 15. The words all jerky looking, like you wrote them on the subway. Your last proof. I still think about the letter you asked me to write. It nags at me even though you're gone and there's no one to give it to me anymore. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It nags at me even though you're gone and there's no one to give it to anymore. Sometimes I work on it in my head, trying to map out the story you asked me to tell, about everything that happened this past fall and winter. It's all still there, like a movie I can watch when I want to, which is never. So that's the first chapter. We're already introduced to this character, you, and that just has some questions that I'm raising in my head. If you have similar questions, please Comment below. Things that go missing. Mom has swiped a big paper calendar from work and scotch taped the month of April to the kitchen wall. She used a fat green marker, also swiped from work, to draw a pyramid on April 27th with big dollar signs and exclamation points all around it. She went out and bought a fancy egg timer that can accurately measure a half minute. They don't have fancy egg timers in the supply closet at her office. April 27th is also Richard's birthday. Mom wonders if that's a good omen. Omen. I don't know what that word means. I might want to either use prefixes, suffixes, context clues, or maybe Google it. Richard is Mom's boyfriend. He and I are going to help Mom practice every single night, which is why I'm sitting at my desk instead of watching after-school TV, which is the birthright of every latchkey kid. Latchkey kid is a name for a kid with keys who hangs out alone after school until a grown-up gets home to make dinner. Mom hates that expression. She says it reminds her of dungeons and must have been invented by someone strict and awful with an unlimited childcare budget. Probably someone German, she says. Glaring at Richard, who is German but not strict or awful. It's possible. In Germany, Richard says, I would be one of the Schlüsselkinder, which means key children. You're lucky, he tells me. Keys are powerful. Some of us have to come knocking. It's true that he doesn't have a key. Well, he has a key to his apartment, but not to ours. Richard looks the way I picture guys on sailboats. Tall, blonde, and very tucked in even on the weekends. Or maybe I picture guys on sailboats that way because Richard loves to sail. His legs are very long and they don't really fit under our kitchen table, so he has to sit kind of sideways with his knees pointing out toward the hall. He looks especially big next to Mom, who's short and so tiny she has to buy her belts in the kids' department and make an extra hole in her watch band so it won't fall off her arm. Mom calls Richard Mr. Perfect because of how he looks and how he knows everything. And every time she calls him Mr. Perfect, Richard taps his right knee. He does that because his right leg is shorter than his left one. All his right foot shoes have 2-inch platforms nailed to the bottom so that his legs match. In bare feet, he limps a little. You should be grateful for that leg, Mom tells him. It's the only reason we let you come around. Richard has been coming around for almost 2 years now. We have exactly 21 days to get Mom ready for the game show, so instead of watching television, I'm copying words for a practice session tonight. I write each word on one of the white index cards Mom swiped from work. When I have 7 words, I bind the cards together with a rubber band. She also swiped from work. Also, we're continuously hearing this word swiped, and if you don't watch Dora the Explorer, Swipe or No Swiping, I would encourage you to figure out what that word means. I hear Mom's key in the door and flip over my word pal so she can't peek. Miranda? She clumps down the hall. She's on a clog kick lately and sticks her head in my room. Are you starving? I thought we'd hold dinner for Richard. I can wait. The truth is, I've just eaten an entire bag of cheese doodles. After-school junk food is another fundamental right of the latchkey kid. I'm sure this is true in Germany, too. You're sure you're not hungry? Want me to cut up an apple for you? What's a kind of German junk food, I ask her. Wiener Krispies? She stares at me. I have no idea. Why do you ask? No reason. You want the apple or not? No, and get out of here. I'm doing the words for later. Great. She smiles and reaches into her coat pocket. Catch. She lobs something toward me, and I grab what turns out to be a bundle of brand new markers in rainbow colors, held together with a fat rubber band. She clumps back toward the kitchen. Richard and I figured out a while ago that the more stuff Mom swipes from the office supply closet, the more she hates writing. The more she's hating work. Oh my goodness, Miss Lubel's making a lot of mistakes, but that's okay. I look at the markers for a second and then get back to my word piles. Mom has to win this money. So, we've read the first 2 chapters of this book, and if you're looking to dig deeper, I would encourage you to think of the following questions. So the first chapter is called Things You Keep in a Box. And I would think about why this chapter is called this and what evidence do you have, as well as things that go missing. So if you want to dive deeper, think about the title of each of these chapters and think of evidence that could help support you why these chapters would be called that. All right, stay tuned for the next 2 chapters.